Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, let's continue the conversation about being an Anglophile in England, because I see so much content out there online and it's like the most stereotypical things about being an Anglophile, and then you move to England thinking that that's going to be your reality, and it's the furthest thing from the truth. If you're new here, hello, my name is Nicole. I'm Canadian originally and I've lived in England for 4 years now. And one of the things that really surprised me when I got here is the gardening. Almost every person does, okay, that's a huge generalization, but many people love to garden here. So let's show you what we've got going on in our garden and talk to you a bit more about it. Often when you look on the internet for content about being an Anglophile, you will get the same old lists over and over again. Do you like Jane Austen? Are you a royalist? Do you wish you had a Harrods or a Fortnum and Masons in your local town or city as well? But if you want to know what it is like for an Anglophile actually living in England, this series should give you an inside glimpse of that. Monty Don may be a household name for you, or perhaps you've never heard of him, but if you're wanting to truly live like the English, you will want to start working on your green thumb. Your garden can be a place for well-being. So often, you'll find many Englishmen in their gardens or down at their allotments. The concept of an allotment was quite foreign to me initially, probably because we have more land than we know what to do with in Canada. But I have loved transforming my garden into a space for relaxation, and although it's not perfect, I thought I would walk you through what we've done thus far in this video. And perhaps we could talk a bit more about what we can do in the garden and see how we can transform it. You can transform your garden into a space of relaxation with these tips on sensory planting and wildlife-friendly garden features. 1. Let's talk about unwinding outdoors. Make your garden a haven where you can enjoy hobbies too. Maybe you like to do yoga, flower drying to make herb pillows, painting whatever is in bloom, or picking herbs for use in cooking or as herbal teas at bedtime. Next, consider color. The colors in your garden can enhance your mood. Blues and purples are likely to have a calming effect, while shades of green soothe and rebalance. And if you're looking for an energy boost, add a pop of orange. It's believed to be the color of creativity and optimism. Tip number 3, introduce some kind of water. Water of any kind will make your garden a more relaxing place. This could be the soothing sounds of a bubbling water feature or the addition of a bird bath or a wildlife pond. We personally have a bird bath, but I would love to get a solar paneled water feature. Tip number 4, grow tasty edibles. Salad veg, soft fruit, cooking herbs, and edible flowers are all so easy to grow, even in a small space. Colorful edibles like sweet peppers, tomatoes, and strawberries are rich in potassium and vitamin C, and are especially nutritious when eaten freshly picked. For us, in our small garden space, we have put most of our flowers out at the front, and although they haven't bloomed yet, I know that they are going to look a lot better than they did last year because we've just added a lot more to our garden. We've put in a flower bed, and I actually am going to put some beets in the flower bed because I've heard that you can combine flowers with beets and it looks quite beautiful. Whereas in the back of our house, Paul calls it a back garden, but I wouldn't necessarily refer to it as a back garden. To me, it's a driveway and not a garden. But with saying that, I am picking up some planters from eBay that we'll put together, and I have already got some lettuce going that I'm just waiting to go to seed, and I've got some other veg that I'll be putting back there as well, such as tomatoes, sugar peas, etc. Tip number 5, let's talk about attracting pollinating insects. When planting a new pot or border, prioritize insect-friendly planting where you can. Many popular garden plants are also favorites of bees and butterflies, including Buddleia, lavender, salvia, nepeta. Pop these summer flowering plants in a sheltered, sunny spot and enjoy the queue of winged visitors. Years ago, I had received a little beehive from one of the brands that I was working with, and it's nestled into a corner of the garden that I am featuring right here in the video. Now, the cardboard straw pieces that are in this little beehive have gotten a bit wet, so they've gone a bit soggy, but I still think that it will do the job if the bees can find it. I might move it to the flower bed in the days and weeks to come. Tip number 6, protect local wildlife. Listening to birdsong and the sound of bees humming can be incredibly restful. Encourage them to share the space with you by providing them with food and shelter. For example, by feeding the birds and installing bee hotels. That's the thing I was just talking about. Bug piles and hedgehog shelters. Believe it or not, last year my minister was coming to visit Paul and I, and there was a hedgehog that I would be surprised if it made it to see this year. But I didn't even know hedgehogs existed, and I definitely didn't know that they were just roaming about in our garden. So I'll definitely be looking and seeing how we can ensure their safety now that we're taking a little bit more time and care to our garden. So I'm going to preface this next statement with the fact that I am a huge animal lover. However, I don't own cats because I cannot stand the smell of their poo. Can't do it. I feel like there's nothing more rank than the smell of cat poo. And two things that I am finding with gardening in the UK. One, there's cat poo everywhere. And if you didn't know, cats are protected animals here. Not that I want to hurt one, but cats are protected animals here and they have the right to roam. I think this is something that I'm really having a hard time with because in Canada, there's not as many outdoor cats. Because it gets so cold, I feel like just most people have their cats inside, or if they do let their cats out, like it's just not in droves like this. So obviously you've seen me dig up the grass, put down some new soil and stuff, and I've now planted the bulbs. However, it was 3 days ago that these bulbs were planted now. A cat has dug them all up. Let me show you. So, can you see those there? So, I'm gonna go outside and plant them again, and I'm probably gonna come across all of the cat poo that is in there. Brilliant. So, I didn't film me sprinkling everything, but what I've done is I've been saving our eggshells for months. And really I was saving the eggshells to help with the slugs and the snails. However, I did see online that the reason why cats are attracted to that is because they want something soft to do their poo in. So by putting the eggshells on it, it should not be as soft. And then apparently they hate smell, so I've just laid an entire bottle of tikka curry powder down. And then if that doesn't work, I've heard that they hate citrus. So did you see our video with Amphora aromatics? I feel like this is like such a waste to use this spray out there, but I also find it's quite potent. So I'll use it once out there, and if it works, I'll look at how I can make my own essential oils, because I think you just put some citrus peels in alcohol, isn't it? Something like that, and then you can make your own, so we'll see. Now, as you can see, I have a very small garden, but I am challenging myself this year to grow as much as I can in this space. So if you don't know, I moved over from Canada and I have a very small space in Canada as well. But I think the thing is that having a home like that in Canada, it's a starter home and you know that you can upsize. Whereas places like here, this is a very normal and average home. And so a lot of people will get something called a allotment. And so they will do their gardening outside of their home. Now, I would love to have a house in the countryside at some point. And so I said to myself, you know what? Let's get in the spirit and let's try and do as much gardening as I can here, because there's still a skill to be cultivated. There's still things that I need to learn. And then when I have that bigger space, I'll be so much farther ahead than if I didn't start to try to learn how to do this now. So let me take you back out to the garden. Let's do a little bit more gardening. I'll show you what I've got going on, and then we're going to head somewhere. Now let's talk about growing a plant sanctuary. Did you know that you can get a sense of sensory relaxation from plants? Plants that stimulate our senses can help us relax. Rosemary, eucalyptus, and bay all have aromatic leaves that release scent when touched. Now, we did have a eucalyptus tree that didn't make it through the winter, so I haven't decided if I'm going to purchase a new one again this year. But I'm definitely on the hunt for a bay tree. We have a tree that is in the middle of our front garden, and some people think it looks like a palm tree, and so they feel a little bit tropical. I have never liked this tree, and so I would love to replace it with a bay tree, but I'm not too sure that Paul is on board with me with that one. Now, the next thing that we can look at when we're trying to create a sanctuary in our garden is using scent as therapy. The smell of rose and lavender can help boost your memory power and reduce anxiety and improve sleep quality. Our neighbors directly across from us, they have 3 or 4 huge lavender bushes. And when I tell you, in summer, if I'm in the bedroom, I can hear the bees buzzing in this lavender bush. Furthermore, when my neighbor cuts this lavender bush, I, no word of a lie, can smell the lavender in my bedroom. It is divine. And I've even heard our other neighbors mention that they can even smell the lavender when he trims it, like 3 to 4 houses down. It is so fragrant. The next thing that we can look at when we are looking to grow a plant sanctuary is magical movement. Gently swaying plants like grasses and bamboos create sounds and movement that helps the body and mind unwind. This is something that we don't have much of in our garden. We do have a little bit of lavender that I have planted in really cute crates on top of the garage, and I'm still on the hunt for 2 more crates like this. But I love that when we sit on our deck, the lavender that is up at the top of our garage, we can smell the fragrance as it blows down to us when we're on the deck. I can only imagine that if there was an audible experience with this, it would just add to the whole experience. So perhaps we'll see if we can get some type of plants that will create some type of movement. I don't particularly think that bamboo or a lot of grasses will fit the aesthetic that I'm going for, but I'll still try and do some research and see if I can find something that will be to my liking. Last but not least, let's talk about serene shapes. Plants with repeated patterns such as Echeverias, I'm not too sure if I'm saying that correct, but that plant and ferns can help us switch off because experts say that fractal shapes are easy for our brain to process. So those are just some of the reasons why you might consider growing a plant sanctuary. Let me know if you have decided to implement any of these into your garden this year. So my friends, this is what we've got going on at home. Now there's a new allotments that have just opened up, and I was toying with getting an allotment. So an allotment is usually just going to be a patch of land. Sometimes they're really long and narrow. Sometimes they're odd shapes. Now there is one maybe about a 7-minute walk away from our house. But the thing is with allotments is that they are in insane demand. It might take, I think the average waiting time for an allotment is between 2 and 7 years, depending on where you are. Because people, they get them and then they just hold on to them their entire life. And so there is a private allotment that has opened up recently, and they've also opened up their farm shop as well. And so I thought I would bring you along and maybe show you what the allotments look like there, and at very least, because I know you can go and have some food and coffee and tea and stuff there, I'll show you what that is like. And if I can't find you any places where you can see an allotment, I can take you to the place where it is by our house, but there's a big fence, like it's sectioned off, and I think you have to have a key to go in there. Whereas this new allotments place, I think that you can see it and explore even if you don't have a slot with them. So let me get ready, get going, and take you with me. Okay, my friends, when I came to film the video where we went to Wells, during the tour that we were on, the tour host, how would I say that, Lorena? Tour guide. Yeah. Tour guide was saying that they have allotments here, and I knew I was going to do a video all about gardening and allotments, and I was going to take you to the new allotments on the way to Bath, but let me show you what this allotments is like. So they've got a garden that they use to like grow stuff for the cafe, but then it's also a community garden. And then she said that there was, did she say 10 years? Yeah. 10 years, a 10-year waiting list to get a plot in here. So if you saw one of the other videos in the series and you heard me say that there's between a 2 and 7 year waiting list for an allotment, wrong.